Welcome to EXPodcast, your only source for everything video games because we're literally the only source online. I'm here today with Amanda and Mark Osborne. They're the top talent at Choose My Own Adventure podcast and professional Dragon Agers. So how are you guys doing today? How are you feeling?
Oh, good, but that's a lot to live up to there, man.
Top talent. I mean,
if we're talking like top build talent, I have yet to see any money, so
yeah, I think I've spent more money. I've definitely spent more money than made money on this podcast.
Yeah, and you do like to give me money sometimes, so.
No, but I'll totally accept Dragon Ager. I put that on my business card, actually.
Yeah, I was trying to decide whether to go with Dragon Ager or Dragon Agist. But I went with
Dragon Agian?
Dragon Agian.
I was going to say, we prefer to be called
Dragon Ageologist.
Dragonians?
Dragonians.
Yeah. And if you guys,
that's a different thing.
Yeah, if you guys didn't know what you were here for, it's for Dragon Age. Just a heads up.
What?
Yeah.
I thought we were gonna talk about
My Little Pony.
Cookies and Cream, the PS2 game.
Screw it. It's about My Little Pony now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are there any My Little Pony video games we can talk about?
Yeah.
There's the
Friendship
fighting
is
game
Magic,
and the fighting game that never got finished. That looks great.
Yeah.
A My Little Pony fighting game, would that just consist of like? There'd be a back button, a turnaround button, and a kick button.
Something like that. Yeah, there was a lot of kicking.
There's a lot of rear kicking.
I would imagine there would be a lot of kicking. No biting? Biting has to be a thing.
But wait,
yeah,
if you
Amanda, you're a horse expert.
There would be biting and kicking. It
There
would
you
be
go.
a duality of biting and kicking.
Yeah.
But wait, some of the ponies are not just, they're like unicorns and with wings and shit.
Oh, that's true. There
That's
could be
true.
like
completely
a rammy,
OP.
stabby, like, yeah, that's all.
Like
that's
Twilight
true.
Sparkle, is that the purple one?
You know it's the purple
Is
one.
that the purple? I don't
We know you know what it is.
I know there's
Twilight
Rainbow
Sparkle
Dash
is.
because it's a rainbow and a euphemism for gay culture.
All right.
And
Let's go back to Dragon Age
Yeah,
because I'm feeling a little funny right now. So, anyways, today we are gonna talk about a subject matter that's near and dear to my heart, some days more than others, and it is the video game series Dragon Age. I personally have played all the games in the series and most of the DLC. I was informed before we started that I missed a few. Tisk tisk.
Only like the most
but
important one.
only like
too.
the ending.
But I literally don't know anything about it though. Like I played it all, but I'm just like I'm not a professional Dragon Ageist.
If somebody asked you what a holla was, would you know what that?
Know what?
A holla?
A holla. You could let me.
Besides
you
a
could let me.
Batgirl.
Yeah, not a holla back girl.
Okay, well then, see, no,
All right,
that's
well.
was gonna be my answer. But
They're the white deer things that travel with the
oh, they're
Dalish.
cool.
Yeah.
I played them as they came out, so it's a little bit like not in my current memory banks, I guess. But we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Now, for the listeners out there, before we get into all the nit and grit, into all the fun. Can you guys give us like a basic idea of what Dragon Age is for anyone who may have not ever played the games or doesn't even know what Dragon Age is at all?
Yep, I think Mark should take this one.
Yeah. I think the best way to talk about Dragon Age is to kind of go off what David Geider, who is the lead writer for at least Dragon Age Origins 2, Awakening, and Inquisition. He describes Dragon Age as a Dark Age fantasy that has a Christianity-like religion, except instead of Jesus, the main disciple who gets crucified is Joan of Arc. And so it turns the idea of religion into this, like, with an apathetic God who is extremely vengeful.
Okay.
And the entire, like, religion is based on appealing to, like, a parent who's really pissed at you and who is really unlike welcoming and it's just like,
Sounds like my
you
actual
really
life.
fucked up.
Yeah.
And you need to earn my love back before I even like think about coming back.
Gotcha. Okay. So that's a pretty good base, I think.
Yeah. And there's there's your other races. You've got your dwarves and your humans and your elves, and then they have another race called Kunari, which are like,
They got horns.
yeah, they're horn people.
Yeah.
They're
Are
like
they
tieflings,
like-
but way cooler.
Yeah. They're pretty sweet.
I was gonna say, I mean, you really just went into the human aspect of the, like, you know, the lore of Dragon
That's true.
Age,
That was
because
just-
the other huge half of it is obviously the elves.
Yeah, elves
who
are
have
big in
their
Dragon
own
Age.
overwhelming lore.
Yeah.
Right.
Gods and history and
Yeah.
And the
You know.
dwarves worship themselves.
And are afraid of the sky, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they
That
think
is
they
correct,
fall into it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's a very it's a unique fantasy universe.
It's very immersive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I
they,
think
they do a lot of justice to like all of the different aspects of the world.
Yeah.
and I think I don't know if you agree with this, but I also believe that like they play a lot with preconceived notions of those races.
Right.
Like humans are still shitty. That's
Yeah, classic.
that always
given.
That
Just
is
like
always given.
currently.
Humans are shitty. Yeah.
and they're the most
You know.
popular. But like dwarves are definitely traditional, like most dwarves are, but they're traditional for very weird reasons. Like they're traditional because they want to keep, they're like really politically heavy,
Yeah.
and they
yeah.
want to like keep all the politics in the family, and they have this really like messed up class system.
Right. Well, I mean, I feel like your dwarves are kind of your traditional isolationists,
Yeah.
which is why they stay in
Which is why
Orzammar
they live
and-
underground,
Yeah, they hang out in the
And
dirt.
then your elves are like, yeah, they have like the ancient magic that elves have, but they don't know anything about it.
They're so disconnected from
Right.
it. Yeah.
So they just
Okay.
end up being like nomadic, almost like maybe a reference to like like native peoples in the way that they practice, but they only know the oration of the story. They don't know the actual origins of their like lifestyle.
And I guess also before we move forward into like some of the questions that I'm going to ask you guys, should we maybe mention like what the Fade is and what the Darkspawn are? Just so that people know, because we're going to say those things, right? Because the Fade is important, isn't it? If I remember correctly.
Oh yeah. No,
Yeah.
the fate
Yeah.
is important.
Yeah.
Again, I'm gonna let you, I feel like you're gonna be so much better explaining these
Okay,
things
when
than
we
I am.
get
I'm
to-
gonna be like, it's like the dream place where like
I don't want to get like too overly technical because
Yeah,
that
just
is
give a
something-
basic overview of like when you use those words, like what they mean.
Okay, so
Yeah.
the Fade is, for lack of like explanation, where everyone goes when they dream, unless you're a dwarf or the special kind of thing called a tranquil. The Fade is where spirits and demons exist, and it is blocked from the physical realm most of the time,
Unless you're dreaming.
unless you're dreaming.
Right.
or
and
unless
then
you need a rift.
or you create a rift in
then,
Inquisition, and then
you know.
there's free passage.
Like a
between-
sweet
Anybody
guitar
who's
riff?
played
Yeah, like
Inquisition?
yeah, you break out your axe and you're like,
and you tear a dimensional portal into another plane.
Yeah.
and then Valhalla from the Justice Friends comes out,
Ooh.
and he's like, Valhalla, totally ride.
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
man.
Okay,
Crunk
so
is there.
we get the Fade with sweet riffs, and then Darkspawn, which is
And
one of my
then-
favorite things about Dragon Age.
Yeah, so this is like what I was just mentioning earlier. Dragon Age takes a lot of tropes from fantasy, like undead or
Right.
like liches and stuff like that, and then they flip it. So the Darkspawn are this hive mind zombie horde that are more humanoid like, except they have sharp fangs and like rotting skin. There's a type of Darkspawn for every race that are different physically, just as the races are. And then they all follow the word of a dragon who is in the state of decay and who leads the hive mind.
What is that dragon called again?
The archdemon.
The Archdemon, that's right. Ooh.
And these events are called Blights.
Ah, yes.
And Dragon Age Origins takes place during the 5th Blight.
Damn, that's a lot. They need to stop that.
Right?
It's a lot of blights.
5?
I don't know.
I'm pretty
You would
sure
know better
that's
than me.
right.
Cool. All right, so that's a pretty
Blights are
good.
bad.
That's a pretty
Very
good,
bad.
like base
Yeah.
for like what
I'm
we're
trying
going
to think
for.
if there's like anything else that is
Well,
important.
The one thing I don't want you to talk about is the prequel series to Dragon Age, which of course, as we all know, is Skyrim.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be
Those are all the
remaking
elven
that-
gods.
Yeah, they're going to be remaking that for everyone on planet Earth to play again. Thanks, Bethesda, I guess.
Thanks, Todd Howard.
In Legend of Zelda VR, so for the $500 Xbox One X Super HD 4K TV version. See? That's what I'm talking about. But yeah, I mean, like, we don't need to touch on any of that stuff.
You know when you hear something really funny, you hear something really funny and you're like, it'd be really cool to talk about it right now, but someone else already said it on another syndicated podcast, and then you just be copying off of them?
Yes.
That is,
You
like,
can always-
I'm overwhelming.
You can always
bubbling with
credit them.
That's true. You
I
can
love
always
not
just
crediting
say,
people
yeah.
that suck, though.
Oh, yeah.
No,
But if they're
I'm
cool-
good. I'm good.
Okay. Cool. All right. So let's get into it. So I want to start with asking you guys, what do you guys think about each game as its own entity? Like, where does the quality in the series lie, mostly, you think?
I honestly would like to hear Amanda's pick on it first, because
Yeah, Amanda, tell us what you think.
Amanda, like let the viewers know like how you got into Dragon Age.
Okay. So I was a latecomer to the Dragon Age fandom. I jumped on it Inquisition, and
Boo.
I know. Oh
That's
God,
Tumblr.
I'm not a
Oh man, do we have a fake gamer girl in the
disclaimer.
house?
Tumblr folks, we're inevitably gonna say things to make you angry.
Just like in episode 1 where Jen lost half my audience by shitting on Melee, because that's a huge community and I'm gonna get hung up for that. We're gonna lose the other half of the audience by calling out Tumblr in this episode, and this will be the last episode.
No, this is what I have to say about the Tumblr community. I love you all, and you should all go out and spread positivity into the world.
This sounds like a mom thing.
And stop shitting on each other so goddamn much. Like, Jesus Christ.
We're not mad at you. We're disappointed.
Okay,
well, no.
back.
See,
That's
you're
just
taking it down. I'm trying to be a mom.
Yeah,
I guess.
no,
yeah,
it
whatever.
sounds like, when your mom is like, you draw something that's beautiful and you worked really hard on it, and she's like, that's a nice scribble. Like, good job. You know what I mean?
Aw,
and
no,
then says like,
not like that.
Yeah. But
Doesn't even go on
I
the
said that at
refrigerator.
first, but then you elaborated and I disagree with me 10 seconds ago. So
It doesn't go in the
My
refrigerator.
God. All right. Well, now I've forgotten what I was doing scolding this community, so I'm going to stop and go back to the
man, Tumblr
original
sucks.
question.
Am I right?
Oh my God. Yep, there they went. We just lost them all.
Yeah, there you go. They go into infinity. Anyways, so
hopped
Amanda,
on
I'm
an
sorry.
Inquisition. Hopped
Yeah.
on an Inquisition.
Yeah.
And when Mark got it, like the night before, he was on the Dragon Age Keep, like filling out all the questions, making sure all this stuff was together.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Let's make you one." And I was like, "Cool." And like he started going through things, and I lost interest like after like the third question, because I was like, "I don't know who the fuck these people are."
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what
Yeah.
the hell is going on. Like everything, like every question, I was like, "Okay, explain to me what happened." And he'd be like, "Here's this really long-winded story about this character and like why this thing happened." And I was like, "Jesus Christ, I don't care."
I'm trying to remember. Like,
So we stopped. I just stopped making that.
Yeah.
And, we got the game, and Mark made his character and started playing. And I was like, okay, no, this is kind of cool. And I really want to, like, make a character. So
Yeah.
we did.
Right.
And, like, dude, I got, like, so invested in the story off the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I loved the characters. I loved everybody in the party. Like, I thought, like, everything was, like, super compelling.
Right.
And I just kind of, like, dove in, like,
Yeah.
to that game. So...
And I feel like there's a lot of people who got into Inquisition. That was their first Dragon Age game too, because it did really well for a AAA game.
did very well.
And yeah, like it had a lot of hype behind it. And also, I remember at the time, I don't know if you agree with me, but the character creator of the time was really strong. Like I remember people
Except
being
for
like,
hair.
yeah,
Hair's
I mean,
not
I had some
good,
problems with
yeah.
it, and I also didn't like the environment they put you in to make the character, because I remember
like
I
the
put
lighting
blush.
is weird.
I put blush
Yeah.
on my character, and then they got out in the sun,
you
and,
were
they
like,
looked
"Oh,
like
look
they
at
had
clown."
rosacea,
You're like,
which is
"Oh, God."
fine, but that wasn't what I was going for. You know?
Yeah, that's not what it looked
They
like to me
that was
previously.
like
Yeah.
one of the first, like, it wasn't a day 1 patch, because like a lot more people complained about it. There's like a day 100 patch, is that they fixed the lighting to be neutral.
Right, exactly. So Inquisition's where you jumped in.
It's where I jumped in. So played through Inquisition, start to finish.
Yeah.
And when I was done with it, I wanted more. And
Yeah.
Mark, when we originally started dating, had tried to get me into Origins.
Yeah.
And I
Dude,
just
back in the day.
didn't really.
Yeah. I tried really hard. We tried to make Buffy.
Yeah.
That
Well,
was
no,
like
that's what
my-
we
The
finally
Vampire
did.
Slayer?
No, we finally did.
I love
Oh, that's
so
right.
when we
We-
went back,
Yeah.
She's great.
because I was like, okay, I know she's great.
Yeah, she is awesome.
I love her so
Buffy.
much. But so when
Let's
we
make a
went
Buffy
back
podcast.
to Origins, because I was
Next
like,
episode.
finished Inquisition, I still wanted more.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, okay, I want to like know about the beginning of the story.
Right.
Go back. We made Buffy. It was awesome. She was
Sweet.
a Dalish elf,
Yep.
Ooh.
and we romanced Alistair, and it was wonderful. That naked scene was weird though, and their hands look broken when they kiss each other. So that was a little
at
weird.
this point, the game's pretty dated, so yeah.
BioWare.
So-
The boobs look great. The hands are broken.
Yeah.
very broken.
Yeah, BioWare definitely, like, on the technical aspect, I won't go off on a tangent on this, but like even though Inquisition was really cool, some of the versions, I'm looking at U360, were pretty rough. Getting stuck on those
Yeah.
walls after arrow backflips and stuff. Not as bad as like Mass Effect Andromeda has been, but man,
Yeah.
there was some bad like rigging in that game.
And I think we can go into like technical stuff later, but
Yeah.
BioWare, like, please just do what everybody else is doing. Hire your voice actors to have motion cab and just
please, for the love
just
of
motion cab
Yeah,
faces,
yeah.
please.
Yeah.
You're so close. Like, I know you really want to punch through the technology and like be the first one to create authentic lips without mocap.
Like, if your lips look like Play-Doh stop motion, then you need to get mocap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just bite the bullet, man. You already have, what is his name? Brian Varick.
Brian Varick. We'll go with that.
Now I can't
Brian
think of his
Varick.
last name, but yeah.
Like, you already have him on beck and call. He's not doing anything else, and he will never do anything else. Brian Bloom, thank you.
And he's a
Thank
wonderful
you.
human being, and
He's-
we love
Brian
him for
Bloom.
his smooth and smoky Barrick voice.
He's
Yeah.
perfect, but he's not gonna do anything else except Varick from now on because it's him. It's his calling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Amanda, you feel like, you know, the quality for you lies in Inquisition because it's your first, and that's what you really got into.
Right. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, I would just say overarching is definitely story.
Okay.
When we played Dragon Age 2, it's got a lot of issues.
Yeah, Dragon Age 2 has a lot of issues.
Um,
and we'll
but,
talk about
I
that
mean,
soon.
Still very like
I'm
I
nodding
mean,
my head.
still pretty compelling, like as far as like morally gray areas and storytelling, but
Yeah.
definitely still some issues with 2.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that, Mark, you think?
Yeah, I think to like extrapolate on what Amanda was saying, like Inquisition is by far the best polished of the game, and it has the best. Let me redo that. I'll go back from since she went like end to beginning. I'll go beginning to end. So Origins is a story game. We talked about it earlier. It's like a callback to like D&D Online and Baldur's Gate and like make your own RPG, like RPG Maker.
Right.
It has this very like systematic approach.
Old school Baldur's Gate. Yeah, systematic approach is good. That's why it's my favorite.
And that's like, and even like how you like use spells and stuff. The game like freezes, and the little reticle pops up, and you drag it, and then it goes off. Like, it's a very systematic approach to the game, and you're switching between characters and trying to set up like follow-ups.
Yeah.
And the story is what drives that. At the time, the graphics were great. Like, I remember even like my siblings, who are my sister Lauren, who is not a video gamer in any aspect. That was her first video game, was Dragon Age Origins, because she saw that trailer with the 30 Seconds to Mars song, This Is War.
That. Yeah.
And she was really into 30 Seconds to Mars, so she's like, we have to buy
it.
this game. And she bought it for me for Christmas.
Wow.
And we played it for like
Blew her
12 hours
minds.
straight.
Yeah.
And she's like, when do your eyes go all blue and shit, like in the trailer? And I'm like, I don't think the game is there yet.
Yeah.
Like, the graphics were not great.
It'll get there. Yeah.
The graphics get better as you play, right?
Yeah.
So story is the key for one, and branching path. It's still, in my opinion, one of the best branching path games.
I can see that
for Origins, because they get more, and like 2 is like running as quickly as you can down a hallway.
Yeah.
And passing the same room over and over again.
Exactly.
The environments are duplicated.
But they're flipped, babe, so they're not the same.
They built 4 maps. They built 4 large maps, and then they created 12 entrances for the 4 maps, and it was just, which one were you coming into and which one were you supposed to exit through?
They were like, how can we make a AAA game and save some damn money?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Yeah, no, I agree with you there.
But then I would say the strength of 2 would be character development. I think the characters were more fleshed out in 2 than in Origins.
Yeah.
And it was also a little bit more forgiving with characters.
Yeah.
Without being gifty, because...
Oh, yeah, the gifts in 1 were an interesting thing.
Origins was kind of weird, because it could be like, you could tell everyone to fuck off, and then you could go buy Sten a painting.
No, because I remember that, because we had romanced Alistair in like the first like hour of the game.
Yeah,
just
no
by
cheats.
giving him shit.
Just like, here's
all the stuff.
Here's a
I think I
talisman,
love you.
Here's a gold bar. Here's a necklace. Here's a flower. And he
Yeah.
was like, I am in love with you.
And just like, so you listeners know, like, Dragon Age has a romance mechanic, sort of like Persona or like other games where you play an RPG, but you can like have a romantic relationship,
and you can
with
have
another
sex,
character. And you can do it.
You can do it. There's
can
a
do
lot
the
of
nasty.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
boobs.
And then
There are a lot of boobs. It's pretty cool. I really wish that the prequel game Skyrim had that.
yeah. Todd Howard does not like boobs.
Yeah.
We would probably see a penis.
And there's no
Skyrim
flush or
before we
death
saw
skill.
boobs.
It's really... I'm gonna kill
Somebody
this
should
joke.
show a penis at
I'm
some
gonna
point.
kill this
Is
joke.
all I'm gonna say.
You play that Conan
It
the
better be a
Barbarian.
penis.
true.
There should be a
That
full
is-
frontal male nude
No,
in
no.
4.
Play the Conan the Barbarian MMO. There's
That's true. There's-
plenty of
I have been
There's a lot.
saying
It's
I have been
not
saying
comfortable
for I've been saying for years, Amanda. Speaking of just dong in games, that they need to make a DOA beach volleyball game and put the boob physics on the junk and make it all dudes, and then make the
man.
girl the one running the island. Like
Yeah.
we need more
Can we do a
dong in
crossover
games,
with Tekken characters?
but
Yeah.
not
That
like as a
really-
masculine thing, just as a their thing.
Just
I
You know?
would
Look
really
at
like
hang.
a crossover with Dead or Alive with Tekken because I'd love to see King's balls.
Me too. I'd love to. Are they speckled?
Yeah, are they also furry?
Yeah,
like does
exactly.
he has the leopard head.
Yeah.
but we never see his legs.
Correct.
Maybe he has leopard legs
Yeah.
too.
Yep, exactly.
Oh my.
But all right, just to wrap this question
The
up,
kangaroo.
for me, oh
furry
yeah,
community is
Roger,
not
I think his name is. But yeah, for me, just I think my Origins is my favorite game, even though it's definitely has flaws. With its DLC expansion, I really like the characters. The storytelling is great. I got into it. 2 was like it had the strong points, but it was overall a wet fart to me. I just didn't really
A wet
care.
fart.
Yeah, wet fart.
Yeah.
The battle system went in a big different direction that I didn't like. There was a lot of problems with like Mark described.
The wet fart. It was satisfying but messy.
Exactly. Exactly. A lot of cleanup there.
Yeah,
Went through
well-
like 2 bags of wet wipes.
God.
And then Inquisition, I also liked, but I will say this is Amanda and Mark definitely are on the other spectrum of this. Inquisition was a love and hate situation for me. Like a lot of the NPCs, like I didn't care what they had to say, even though they were all voice acted. I couldn't really get into some of the characters. But then on the complete opposite other end of the game, some of the characters were amazing, and I really wanted to hear more from them. So it just, it was a personal preference thing. All the environments for the time were really nice. I was like on the fence about the battle system, but there were some cool aspects to it too, which we'll also get into in a few minutes. But yeah, so that's just like my quick spark notes essentially about it.
Okay.
And how I stand on Dragon Age. Not my favorite RPG. I'm a huge RPG guy, but I've played all the games and I will buy the new ones. So there's that.
Yeah.
All right, and that brings me to I want to ask you guys. Dragon Age has a very unique, interesting system, which is the ability to carry over your choices from one game to another, even if you technically haven't finished or played the other games. Is this implemented well? What do you guys think about it? Do you think it makes the game unique?
I have a great story that I feel like goes with this one.
Yeah.
And it's play Dragon Age Origins, and if we ever get to the point where we talk about each of our romances, you'll notice a pattern with mine. I always choose the feudal lover, the one that is the game is telling you probably won't be happy in the long run with this decision.
It's good right now though.
But it's great. Yeah, it's great right now. So like in the first game, automatically romance Morgan. I didn't even take a glance at any other character.
Well, yeah, look at her.
Well, yeah, exactly. You're like,
Yeah, I mean-
hi, I'm a witch who turns into a spider, and I could
It's
really
so
care
cool.
less about everything else.
Yeah.
And I was like, done.
That's gonna
Cool.
end well.
I'm playing a rogue who kills people for money.
Sounds
We
like a
fit
lot
really
of my
well.
ex relationships.
And then in the second game, I chose Meryl, who is
Oh yeah, yeah.
who
that's
is a
gonna end-
blood mage
Yeah.
trying to like revive her people's culture by stepping into the dark arts.
She's one of my favorite parts of 2, by the way. Meryl's a great character.
And then in the third one, Sarah.
I hate Sarah.
Yeah.
She's my least
Oh
favorite.
man.
Sarah's my least favorite Dragon Age character, actually.
That completely makes sense.
And we talked about that when I got you that gift.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I got Mark a gift for Christmas, I think, which
Yep.
was Dragon Age themed tea, and it was like Sarah's blend. And I was like, I hate her, but I love you. So here you go.
By the way, if you
I was
want,
like, I like how you two are on board with each other. Like Morgan, great. Meryl, awesome. Sarah, hater. Look,
Yeah.
wait, what?
No, Cassandra
No,
is the only girl for me in Dragon Age Inquisition.
in my and in my second
Wife.
playthrough, I did romance Cassandra after
Cassandra's
I dumped Dorian.
Ooh, Dorian is pretty hot, but
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love Dorian.
I
His
played
hipster
a-
ass.
He's
Anyway,
great. He's
but-
a great boy, man.
But then Sarah is the same way. She's like, you meet her at the beginning, and she's very much like, when this is done, I'm gone. And I'm like, great, I love you. Don't
no,
leave.
Yeah, I loved Cassandra. She was
Um,
great.
But But so the the carryover thing. That's what you're talking about.
Well, but before we move on to back to the actual question, like Grant romanced Cassandra, right? Yeah. That's his waifu. So I'm sorry that I took your waifu. I'll give her back.
She is. She's on a zip drive.
In Origins, I started a romance Liliana.
Oh, heck yeah, that's a good choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't let our opinions discourage Grant. You from playing 2.
No, 2 is still definitely a totally worthwhile game to play. Absolutely.
And if I had to pick, don't play a mage in 2.
Yeah, I played a rogue.
Yeah, I think rogue is the best way to go. Warrior is fun, but you do get points where the combat is just like a slog.
Yeah.
When you play as a rogue, you can mash that X button and you're just like like you're just like zipping everywhere.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, so the Dragon Age carryover system.
But so the carryover, so what I was going to say is, so because in the first game my warden romanced Morrigan. Right. And then there was a DLC patch where you find out where Morrigan goes at the end of Origins. She goes through the doorway from the ancient elves.
Yeah.
And
the Alluvian?
The Alluvian, sorry. I was like blanking on that. She goes through the Alluvian, and your character can decide at that point to either go with her or to stay behind. I went with her.
Right.
So then Dragon Age 2 comes around. You don't hear anything about the Warden.
Right.
And it's because I chose that ending. Like, he's just like kind of gone from history.
Okay.
So then Inquisition comes around, and Morrigan's back.
Yeah, that's right. She
and
comes
you're
back
like,
in Inquisition. Yeah.
Okay, what happened? And it's because I put that in. Morrigan has a son.
Yes.
Which is the Warden's son.
Yes.
So he has, and
she cheated on you.
You know, no, she didn't. She did not. It's the Warden's son, and there's this great interchange where she's like, "Yeah, me and the Warden raised Kieran alone in the Alluvian as a family."
Wasn't a strange upbringing for this kid.
Oh my god!
But it was like
so freaking messed up.
Yeah.
But it was one of those moments where I was like, I did that.
Yeah.
I made a happy family out of like a really shitty situation.
Right, and it's because of the choices you made all the way back in the day on Origins. So that's really cool. So like the game can just like really kind of tweak, and if you're really into like the lore and what's going on in your playthrough, then like that's a really good system to invest in.
Yeah, and it even comes down
to
it
makes
things...
it worth playing the previous games.
Oh yeah, for sure. Or at least like reading up on the lore or talking with people who have played them, so when you go to Dragon Age Keep, you can kind of choose the route like, you know, maybe choose the route where you make peace with the werewolves in Dragon Age Origins, so that later on in the game when you meet werewolves,
they don't try to kill
they're
you.
not like blood murdering lustful creatures. Like you can actually talk with them and they'll be like, oh yeah, a warden helped us out in the past, so we've learned to like talk to people before we murder them.
They're like, hey, we're civilized now, man.
Exactly. No, they're like, Jerry wears pants now.
Yeah.
And you're like,
it's like
awesome.
It's like this the ones from what is that movie from what we do in the shadows or something like that really
Oh, that's such a
that's a great movie. Anyways, okay, so cool. Do you have any expansions on that, Amanda?
Oh, as far as like how the games all kind of fit together?
Yeah. How the carryover system works and if it's
I
good.
think the carryover system is really cool because like obviously you see that in like video game series, like as far as like established characters, but where you've created like a character in each game that carries through the series, like I think that's really awesome. Yeah. And I can't really think of like many other things where that's implemented at all. So
I would like more. And I say that because I would like, there are some decisions like in this new one, and spoiler alert. Like in Dragon Age, like if you play Dragon Age to make Alistair king, right?
Yeah.
And then Alistair is king, you go, if you choose to side with the mages at Redcliffe.
Yeah.
Alistair and Honora show up or whoever. Yeah. And they're like, they kick all the mages out, and the leader of that is Fiona.
Right.
And that's actually his mother.
Right. Oh, that's right. I remember that now.
That's actually his mother, and he doesn't know that. So if you played it and chose the Templars, you murder her. But if he's still trying to find his mother. Mm-hmm. So then if Dragon Age 4 comes out and Alistair is king, but you chose the Templars and Inquisition, it's like Alistair could have reason to be mad at the Inquisition. And Ferelden would be kind of pissy about the whole situation.
Pretty cool.
That kind of like level would be great to see.
Yeah.
But incredibly ridiculous to program.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I want to expand on is with the carryover system, there are like you said, Amanda, there aren't a lot of games that do that. But if you guys have never, and they're not all good, I'm going to just go ahead and say this right off the bat. But if you guys have ever played any of the Telltale games, specifically The Walking Dead or The Wolf Among Us, I didn't really like the Game of Thrones one that much, but it wasn't terrible. It was pretty good. But their carryover systems are really well done too. It's like simpler because they're simpler games, but like I really felt, especially like in The Walking Dead, the carryover systems really mattered. You know, I thought that was like, because you get to experience a game with like a completely different character if you let A or B die, you know. So and the games playthroughs, you know, my friend Savannah Henderson like loves those games, and we played them kind of at the same time, and she chose different options than I did, so it was like a different story, you know.
Yeah, it's like the Until Dawn idea.
Yeah,
like
that game was fun.
Multiple
that game was
games.
fun. Although the decisions in Until Dawn don't like change it that much, but it's still a super fun game.
Yeah, the concept is pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I really liked playing. I played through that whole game with like a group of people, and we did pretty well through it, but it was a really exciting game. I mean, it's only really worth one play. There's not a lot of replayability, but for me, there's too many games to play anyway, so I don't really care.
Yeah.
But yeah. But let's move on though, just because there's a lot I want to get to. All right, so everyone has favorite characters and least favorite characters. I want to hear what your guys' favorite character is and your least favorite character. And this is probably the part where I'm going to lose the rest of my listeners, I'm guessing.
Probably,
but
yeah, no.
I'm going to start. Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to start with you, Amanda. Who's your favorite character and why? And who's your least favorite character and why?
I mean, can I start with least favorite?
Yeah, let's do least favorite. Yeah. Fuck it. We'll do
least favorite is really easy to me because honestly, like most favorite, like there are those who I've romanced in the games, but like I don't know, I would have a really hard time saying my most favorite character.
I will say when you say her least favorite is definitely also mine, so I'll pick my second least favorite.
Yeah. Okay. And when you say your least favorite, like tell a little bit about them so like people who don't know who they are can kind of get an idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's this guy named Anders who is a cat person.
Half the people have turned the podcast
who
or turned it on. Like, oh, Anders.
Like, yeah. So I think he is a despicable human waste of trash, and like he's terrible.
Yep, sounds about right.
Just absolutely terrible. I think his character is he's just an asshole. Like, he's just a total asshole. Quit making meow noises. Cats are terrible. If you like cats, that's fine. But if you don't like dogs, as we discussed earlier.
We did discuss earlier. Yeah, I have a cat and 2 dogs. My cat is amazing. I love her. And my dogs are great. But if people hate dogs, unless they've been bitten or something like that, that's okay. But, like, I'm a little wary. But if you hate dogs and love cats for no good reason, you watch out for that person.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They'll
betray you.
You know who else hated dogs and loved cats unconditionally?
Who?
Satan.
Damn, that's true. I'm
more on board with Satan than I am with
I'm also more on board with Satan. He's pretty sweet.
But yeah, so anyway, he's a piece of garbage, and I literally don't understand like everybody's obsession with him. Outside of the fact
he is really popular for like listeners
popular.
who don't know. He's maybe the most popular. He's extremely popular.
I think it's a lot of things because there are aspects of his character which I understand and I totally jive with. Like, he was a circle mage. He obviously dealt with a lot of abuse and things like in the past that has kind of shaped his character.
Yep.
He's a healer. He obviously, like, the first time you meet him in the second game, he's trying to help people out in Darktown.
Right.
That's cool. Like, that's all very cool.
But he ends up wrecking the best Origins character, as we spoke of earlier.
Yeah, that happens. And also, he blows up a chantry that has innocent people inside. Like, I know not all of them, but
he did it on purpose.
He did murder some innocent people, and he was totally cool with it.
Yeah.
He acknowledges it. He's like you can confront him, like, if you figure out his plot, which also, like, he's not stealthy about it. He's like, hey, can you take me to the church and, like, not look at me? And you're like,
I just need you to sneak me into
just look over there, guys. I'm gonna do this thing.
And you're like, no. And he's like, fine, I'll do it on my own. And you're like, then why did you ask me?
Yeah,
because now I know that something terrible is gonna happen and it's your fault.
Yeah. Didn't he kill his cat too?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, that's in the lore. Like, so he gets, so the first time Anders shows up is in Dragon Age Awakening, which is the sequel to Origins, and you meet him because the Templars, he's broken out for like the 12th time, and they're like, usually it's third time and you're out, but like he's really powerful, so they keep vouching for him. Finally, they're just like, we can't take him back. We're going to kill him. There's nothing we can do. He keeps breaking out. He's extremely hostile, and you can choose to save him and make him a Grey Warden, and then he's like untouchable. So you do that, and then he finds this cat, and he names it Sir Pounce-a-lot. And then
which is
he
cute.
takes it into the Deep Roads, which I know we didn't talk about this, but the Deep Roads is where everything goes to die, and it's where the Darkspawn are.
Yeah.
Why the fuck would you bring your kitten into that? And then it gets the blight sickness and dies.
Yeah,
And
good
you're
job,
like,
Anders.
Yeah,
And he doesn't
good job,
care.
Anders.
Really,
You
right?
killed Sir Pounce-a-lot.
I mean, he's sad. I'm
Yeah.
sure, like, if we got a cutscene of, like, the cat dying, he would have been crying, and maybe I'd feel more
Maybe that's why he blew the
empathy.
church up. I mean, if my cat died, I'd probably
Because
blow
of
a
the
church
cat.
up.
But, like, it just...
Anyway, yeah, no. So, least favorite character, definitely Anders.
Yeah.
And, like, also, I just want to say, I'm not here to tell you to hate Anders. If people like
I will.
Anders, that's totally fine.
No, fuck Anders.
We would not get along on that one point,
Yeah.
but these are fictional characters.
Yeah.
So,
That's
get
true.
over it. Like,
But Amanda, they're my life.
well, get a life.
I did fan art
Damn.
of him.
That's true. I do nothing but Anders fan art.
Oh, man. All the Anders fan art.
Yeah.
Favorite characters. I'm just gonna give you a couple because I can't narrow it down.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
gonna further piss off the people who I probably already pissed off by saying I like Cullen. I think
Love
he
Cullen.
is a great example of
A
character growth.
transformative
I think
character.
people who dislike Cullen love Anders, and I think the thing that I like about Cullen is what I take away from that character is that hatred is learned, and that you can change as a human being and learn
Growth is
to know
important.
better. So, you know,
Yeah, no, I
That's a
agree
good
with you. I
thing.
think I think that's a really good moral, you know.
Yeah, it's like, here is, like, in a way, I feel like you can parallel Anders and Cullen, and to say, like, they both experience trauma. They both immediately backlash against the trauma. And then Anders' development is giving in to the trauma and just recklessly being angry.
Right.
And Cullen is structuring it and trying to, like, deal with his anger by removing himself from the fuel.
Right.
Like, Inquisition is him going, I think the Templar ideals are poisonous to me, so I'm gonna step out of it.
Yeah, and that's like also the sign of like a mature person in general, just being like, I think I need to change my situation.
Yeah, he's like,
you know,
the Templar Order is an enabler in there. So I'm going to remove myself from that.
Right.
right.
Anders is like,
It's a hard thing to do.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. But
Okay,
yeah, so,
that's a good choice. I like that.
yeah. But also Varric and Scout Harding are, you know.
Scout Harding is so good.
I'm not a big Varric fan, but it's okay. Everybody seems to like him a lot, so maybe I'm just missing something. I
And
never used him in my
Dorian.
parties ever
There are
either.
so many good people.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's a good list. I like that. What about you, Mark? You can't choose Anders.
Yeah, I can't choose
well, we know
Anders.
it's Anders, but what's your
Yeah,
who's your-
my
We
least
know it's
favorite is
Anders.
Anders.
Yeah.
And, like, it's not just my wife and I ganging up on him. There's just so...
We did kill him, though.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Hardcore.
by the way, also very not satisfying. And again, I know we just talked about how boo Anders for blowing up the Church of Innocent People, and now we're saying boo, I didn't get to kill him cool enough. But, like, he shows up and he's like, not sorry. He's like, I'm not sorry that I blew up the building with all the innocent people.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, he's like, sorry, not sorry. And then he's like, I'll accept whatever punishment you give me.
And like sword to the face.
The whole time
That's what you want,
we're
right?
playing
Yeah.
we're playing a character who wields a two-handed battle axe,
Hell yeah.
and it's literally like glowing red, and like if flames were shooting out of it, they would be.
It's hungry for blood.
It's hungry
Yeah.
for blood, and
Give
like
me his soul.
you literally pull out like a butter knife,
Yeah, it's like the tiniest little dirk ever. It's
Yeah.
like as
and
big
you
as your
just
pinky.
like you just stab him in the chest with it.
Although
and
that
then
would
he
be-
I
falls
think you stab
down.
him in the back. You like stab him in the kidney. You're
That's
just
right.
Like,
Yeah,
eh.
you jab him in the side, and he just like I get that they were probably going for like he was your friend, and that was like a mercy
That
killing.
was the most humane way to do
But
it.
in my opinion, a mercy killing is cleaving his head off of his shoulders.
Yeah,
in
a
one
butter knife
swipe.
kill,
For sure.
like a kind of dull dirk, is way more painful and awful than
Yeah.
getting just blasted. That's the guillotine idea, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it
okay,
didn't
so-
work all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
Um,
but your axe was sharp.
Very sharp. It
Yeah.
cut through my enemies.
Yeah.
Anyway, so least favorite character besides Anders, I think would have to go to Egghead.
Oh,
I don't remember Egghead.
Soulless.
We're gonna piss
Oh,
off the
Soulless.
rest of-
Yeah, fuck
no.
that guy. We're gonna
So-
hopefully kill him in Dragon Age 4.
And this is
or
the thing.
Skyrim too.
I was definitely not as negative. Like Soulless is still like, if I was rating a scale, like the difference between, because I even like the villains. Like I even like Corypheus, and
He was
I
really
like
cool,
Samson
kinda.
more than I like.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
Soulless.
Samson's
Yeah.
cool.
I like Calpurnia more than
yeah,
you know.
Calpurnia.
But as far as like just a character who is, and I'm sorry, BioWare, like I know you wanted this to be like the grand reveal of like friend is foe, and if you feel bad about it, but he's so callous
He's such a pompous twat.
and just just dismissive and
yeah,
like
and also like you should tell everybody who Solus kind of is too, just so like people know who he
He's
is.
an unwashed hobo apostate who shows up
Yeah.
to help you close the
He
breach.
He hangs
in
out
the
with you in
sky.
Inquisition.
he is one of the main characters from Inquisition, and he is kind of like your source of information for all the weird shit that has happened
Right.
in Inquisition.
Right.
Which then you find out he knows a lot about it because
He basically
he
set it in
caused
motion.
it.
Psych. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, spoiler.
Yeah.
There's one scene though, in like if you like got into an argument with him, you can hit him.
Oh
yes,
yeah,
smack
if you
him.
have a
Smack him
low
right in the
enough
head.
approval rating.
Amazing.
I think that proves that like he was not supposed to be likable. If there's a video game option to punch any character,
Yeah, then the producers and the programmers knew that you probably
they're
weren't
like,
gonna like him.
if we give them this option, of course they're gonna choose it.
Yeah.
I'm
okay.
gonna say that, and it is honestly just because I could never form an attachment with him. But that's his biggest flaw, is he can't make attachments with living people.
Well, okay, so spoiler alert again, and I don't know if I should talk about this, Leon, because you haven't played Trespasser.
I'm fine.
Okay, well, basically,
Just
Anders
spoil
Terrace,
me.
Yeah,
Solus at the end of Trespasser essentially tells you that
he's a super terrorist.
he's a super terrorist who's
Really?
going to commit genocide on the
What?
entire world and kill all of the humans to make up for his past mistake
Oh my-
of basically killing all of the elves.
Oh my god.
So Solus, and again, not to like this
What
isn't
a
this
twat.
isn't a Dragon
Seriously.
Age
Yeah.
like review podcast, but this is just a discussion. Like essentially, as Amanda said, the Fade and the real world were one,
Right.
And elves ruled because they're
They're
already
sweet.
super magic,
Yeah.
And if they can tap into the magic place all the time,
Yeah.
So then
Everything's just magic all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
there was a ruling like monarch or like tyranny, and he decided that he didn't like them. So
He
in a way,
exploded
he
them.
liberated the people, the elves, by separating the magic world from the physical world.
Correct.
But then all the elves died.
Died.
Or lost their magic power because no more magic place.
Right.
And then he fell asleep.
He took a long nap.
Sleepy baby.
He took a long nap.
Yeah, sleepy baby.
And then he woke up, and his first thought was, "Oh fuck! I better build a bomb that blows this shit all up."
I fucked
Damn.
it up. I guess I should
magic.
start again.
Yeah, magic terrorist.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
he's basically like to your character at the end. He's like, I'm really glad we became really great friends, and you should go live your life for as long as
For
you can
2 more
until I
years.
explode the world.
It's like one of those people that you like hang out with and they feel real close to you, but like their insane tendencies that really affect you as a person that they don't
Yeah.
care about. They just bleed into your life and they're just like, sorry man, we're friends though, right? But I'm gonna do this anyway.
I'm
So
gonna go murder your family,
Yeah.
but like
We're cool.
I like that we went to Jimmy John's later. It was
yeah. Sammy's.
yeah.
cool.
Okay.
And then favorite character is a toss between. This is hard because like there's even like what I would people would consider like B-list characters that I think are way
Awesome.
cooler than some A-listers.
Yeah.
Like I could give a shit about. We talked about this the other day. Like Ogren, whatever. Win, whatever. Zevran, whatever.
Oh man.
I think my 2 favorite characters, as I mentioned before, I definitely love Morrigan is one of my favorites because I feel like she's so transformative, just like Cullen.
And she's sort of like the poster girl of Dragon Age
Yeah.
as well. Like if you guys have ever seen any promotional art for Dragon Age, that like kind of cute, like weird witchy girl on the front, like that's her.
That's her.
Yeah.
And then this might come as like a weird thing, because I think Amanda would expect me to say Sarah, who I always romance.
We have to be enemies now.
Well, my turn's coming up in a second. I got some
man.
stuff to say.
Oh,
So
we're
what's
good.
your other favorite character?
My other favorite character is Shale, who is a DLC character from Origins.
Okay.
And
Shale is
Shale
awesome.
is a golem with a
Oh, I remember them.
female dwarf's soul inside of it, and her just like
Where did she ever go to? What happened? Why wasn't she in
she
Inquisition?
so if you read what happens in the books is her and Wynn team up.
Okay.
And her and Wynn travel the world.
Who's
and then
Wynn?
Wynn is the old lady from the first game.
Gotcha. Yep.
She's grandma.
Mama
Yeah.
Mage.
Yes,
Mama
Mama
Mage.
Mage. Yeah.
Her
I'll teach you a fire spell, Sonny.
exactly. So
Yeah.
Wynn and Shale go off, and then you find out that Wynn has a son named Reese,
Okay.
who is in the
Like puff cereal.
yeah, Reese,
Reese Puff cereal.
in brown Reese and white Reese.
Peanut butter
Um,
chocolate flavor.
But you find out that Wynn has a son named Reese, who is a spirit mage, and who he figures out he's actually where Cole comes in.
Okay.
Because he's the only mage who can see Cole.
Yeah.
Who at this point in the game is murdering mages who want to die. He's like mercy killing people.
Okay, I'm about that.
So that's where Cole comes from. But he gets accused of murder, and then Shale and Wynn have to like prove he's innocent. And you find out Wynn had like a secret love affair with a Templar that she loved, even though she's a mage.
Mm-hmm.
And then that is in the book folded over into Reese falling in love with his like watcher named Evangeline, who's a female Templar.
Okay, that's a lot.
So it's like it's Dragon Age Asunder. It's the third book in the Dragon Age novels, and it's probably one of the best ones.
Yeah, and just so all you listeners know, Dragon Age is huge, of course. It has 3 games, a bunch of DLC, but they also have a role-playing game, and they have like a ton of different lore that you can read about, and the books, of course.
Yep.
So if you're a big
comics.
fan like
And
Mark...
comics.
Yeah, if you're in comics, yeah. The Dragon Age comics are cool. They have really good art in them. If you guys are a fan of Dragon Age, or if you start playing them and like them and you want more, definitely check those out. There's a whole lot. Mark brought some cool books here to the recording that I could check out because I've never really looked at those kind of things
New
before.
comic book series actually coming out.
There you go. There's a bunch of stuff. So yeah, keep that in mind, guys. But yeah, so for me, I'm just gonna, I don't have very like deep opinions on these guys, but so my most favorite characters.
Sarah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna say that for last.
All right,
So
I'm
my
excited.
my most favorite characters I probably like do top 3 is Iron Bull. I love him just because he's
Very nice.
ridiculous
Good.
and he's really cool. And I
He's
like
Freddie Prinze Jr.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
like his character design. He's fun. He was like really fun to use in the party. And then I love Cassandra because I romanced her in Inquisition and she's great. She's real strong. I like strong women. And then I like Justice, who Anders wrecked, and is one reason why I hate Anders. Justice from Origins, I believe, correct? Yeah.
Yeah, from Awakening.
From Awakening, the DLC for Origins. He's this like spirit of justice that inhabits Anders' body, and he's just like really interesting, really well written, and he's got a sweet voice actor. Like he's just powerful, and he just sounds great. And then my least favorite character is Sarah, because she sounds like some sort of horrible female Doctor Who knockoff. I hate her voice actor. And she's she always disagrees with all the decisions I made, so she'd be like, blah, 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 barking at me from behind the party, blah, 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 blah. And I hate her. And I stuck her in that little library room, and then I would go in, and I would just like, I would go in there, and like you could talk to your characters, like, outside of your party, and like I would just yell at her a bunch, because I hated her. And then she'd be like, do you just want me to leave? And I'll be like, no, you're staying because I want to yell at you more. And I really don't have a better reason than that she was just annoying. But I also didn't like we talked a little bit about like mocap and like how, and I just thought she had horrible mocap. Like I didn't like her lips for some reason.
Yeah, I could see that.
I didn't like her
definitely-
facial features, and it's okay to make them unique, like it's cool to have unique looking characters, but it just kind of looked like, to me, that they didn't put a lot of effort in for that particular thing.
I would almost make the argument that maybe they put too much.
Oh, like she's over animated?
Like, I think they wanted to give her like this kind of like always smirk, like she's talking out of the side of her
like
mouth.
some parts of her face looked like when you drop an omelet onto a hot skillet for a second, you know, and it bubbles. Like there'd be like, why did that move like that? You know?
Oh my.
Yeah. There's some nice diced peppers in there and some sausage.
You know what? And I just thought of this.
Huh.
I bet that because have you seen her original designs?
Yes,
she has like
yeah.
the shaved head.
Yeah, I liked that actually.
I think they honestly were like, we want a character who's just a lesbian, but we can't make her look like a bull dyke.
Oh, gotcha.
And I think
Gotcha.
they just rounded her out.
I liked her original design with her Yolandi Fossa hair.
Yeah, that's what I was just with the
Okay.
shaved head and the like mohawk, and it made sense too because like as she tells you in the game, like she cuts her hair with like a knife. She's like, oh, there's hair in my face, so I took out a knife and cut it. And Dorian's like, have you ever heard of scissors? And you're like,
Yeah.
I don't have time for your hair cutting whatevers.
Exactly. But yeah, that's my list. But yeah, I'm starting to like wrap things up a little bit here. I want you guys to sort of like pitch this to our audience. There are a lot of video games out there, and RPGs are very time consuming, and Dragon Age is one of those. Why should someone invest like 1,000+ hours or however long it would take to immerse yourself in all the DLC and everything into these games? Is it worth it? Is there going to be future Dragon Age content coming up? We'll talk about that a little bit more after this. But yeah, like what's your pitch? Like tell me, sell Dragon Age to our listeners here that may have bear through our ramblings.
I would say if you like playing games for good story and interesting and compelling characters, they're definitely like all three of the games have that going for them.
Right.
So there's a lot of, it's about immersion, and I think the storylines are very interesting because, like I say, there's a lot of moral ambiguity, a lot of parallels to things in real life.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think if you're looking for something that's like playing just, a movie that you're an actor in.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think also we've mentioned multiple times like that Dragon Age isn't like your cookie cutter fantasy. It's not Todd Howard's Skyrim, where it's just a vanilla fantasy experience.
Yeah.
It may be the prequel.
Sorry, Todd
It
Howard.
could be the prequel to Dragon Age.
It could be the prequel.
Vanilla
But like,
Dragon
and
Age.
again, it's like there are things you take for granted in fantasy realms, and Dragon Age, as it's gotten bigger, has
Sorry.
as it's gotten bigger, has only shown that it separates itself from vanilla fantasy more and more and more. Also,
And that's a big problem with a lot of fantasy realms that come out now.
is they stay stuck. Like, what was that McFarlane game
Oh,
that
God,
came out the same
fuck
time as Dark
McFarlane.
Souls? Like, Knights of Amalur Reckoning.
Oh, the
Reckoning of Amalur.
Yeah, the Knights of Amalur Reckoning. The one that you play an MMO by yourself, and
Yes.
it's like generic fantasy RPG.
and it's like, here's a guy with a hammer.
because
and you
if Todd
fight a
McFarlane
ogre.
is busy wrecking all good toys,
Yeah.
he's also busy wrecking video games.
Yeah, like that game. Like me and my friend Joe Rouse, when we were in college, we wanted to play both that and Dark Souls, but neither of us had enough money to buy both. So I was like, I'll buy Dark Souls.
Oh,
and
good
you
choice.
buy
You got the
Reckoning.
good. You got the good one.
And he returned it in like 2 days. And he
Yeah.
was like, this game fucking blows.
Yes, it was supposed to be an MMO originally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
but
can
they ran
tell.
out of money. Yeah,
Anyway,
I do feel bad for that guy who invested a lot of money in it, but
that
that's another story for another time.
you could do a whole episode on failed MMOs. Final Fantasy 14 would take a long time.
Yeah. Although I will say, just for our listeners here, Final Fantasy 14 would take a long time.
It's
And
good now.
Yeah, correct.
It's great now.
Its original was a travesty, but it actually, I hate MMOs, and I'm a huge RPG guy. The new version of Final Fantasy 14 is one of the only MMOs I've ever played that is
So
super
tasty.
good. But anyways, we're gonna have multiple episodes on Final Fantasy because I love that series kind
And
of.
there's
And they're
a
all
lot
so
to talk about.
And I also there's a lot to talk about,
So
and I have a
much.
big love-hate relationship with it. So.
But Margaret was saying, like, so the more that they expand, the more that you're going to get a unique experience. And I think it's good to know. And I like, honestly, obviously other game studios have big writing stabs. But when you hear BioWare talk about the people at the top of creating Dragon Age games are 7 writers, they are invested in creating compelling characters, compelling story, and relatable things. And BioWare tries to stay current. So like when we talk about what may or may not be in Dragon Age 4, I wouldn't be surprised if this theme was like civil unrest
Mm-hmm.
and a leader of popular renown and nationalistic tendencies
Yeah, like
rises to power suddenly
seems a little bit similar to what I'm living now.
because
Is it my real life?
Yeah.
Or is it fantasy?
The only big difference
But
is
they
I
do
cannot
that.
storm the White House with
no.
a broadsword or I'll
Yeah.
get shot in the head.
they do
That's
that.
true.
I
Don't do
think
that,
a lot of
I was
people
thinking
give
about
a lot of like super conservative, and I'm not saying conservative like the previous joke,
Correct.
but conservative as in like old school gamers
Yeah.
that play fantasy games like D&D first edition, and they're like, you go to a tavern and you like have these aspects of the medieval fantasy that don't exist, like modern ingenuities, like things like using coin or like going to a repair shop, like, or
Yes.
things that don't really exist in actual
Right.
Dark Ages,
Right.
but we've placed
We've
modern
placed them in there.
ideas into
Yeah.
fantasy. Dragon Age just takes that and they just run with it,
Right.
and they make sure that it makes sense why you need to stop for potions, why there would be supply caches to begin with. So it's just a very fleshed out world.
Yes.
And there's a shit ton of it.
Yeah.
I know that's not like the best thing, but at least for me, if I am going to buy a game and I know that it's like if I really wanted to play Uncharted, the most convincing thing for me is that there are a billion of them.
Yeah, there's a lot to invest in.
And like if
yeah.
I got invested in it,
Indiana
I could go
Jones.
for,
Well,
yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you say, I mean, content-wise, like that's just a huge thing. If
Right.
you get into it and you hate it after the first 2 hours, you never have to touch it again.
Yeah.
But if
Exactly. You can
love
just
it,
jump off. Yeah.
You can be like, oh my god, I have 3 games to play and all these DLCs,
Yeah,
and then I can read all
exactly.
these books and
Yeah.
like.
And if you start with the older ones, they're very affordable.
Oh yeah, you can
yeah,
get
in
the
your
first
wallet.
2 games on one PS3 disc for
Yeah.
like $10.
Yeah, cheap.
With all
at,
the
at,
DLC.
at Planet Fun, the store that I work at, it's like $8 for the
Yeah.
combo. I just put one out the other day.
Go to Planet Fun.
Also,
Buy
BioWare
yourself
learns-
some
Savannah,
shit.
Georgia.
BioWare learns from their mistakes, except with Andromeda. They didn't
Yep.
learn at all.
Yeah, Andromeda
But
was
with
terrible.
Dragon Age, like Dragon Age Origins, people were like, the game's too slow. So then they made the game super fast.
Yeah,
For Dragon
like
Age
Sonic.
2. And then they were like, okay, hold on. It's not, we don't want it that fast.
Right.
And they're like, okay. And they find a good medium.
Right. Okay. For me, this is what I'm going to say. Before I say anything, I'd like to just reiterate, Amanda and Mark are the Dragon Age professionals here. I've played all the games, like I said, but I'm not as big of a fan of them as they are. But I'd like to say this. For me personally, I played all the main games. I'd say choose your battles on this one. For me personally, BioWare is like a really cool company as far as a AAA company goes, because my big issue with a lot of AAA companies like EA and Ubisoft, those shit ass companies, is that they don't give a fuck about you as a gamer. They give you flat experiences, and they don't have things like Dragon Age does with these writers sitting at the top making these games. They don't really care. They just want you to buy the game, beat it, sell it to GameStop so GameStop can make a few bucks and take your $60 and then sell you a deluxe digital gold edition. Now, like with these RPGs, although they're AAA, there is caretaking when it comes to storytelling. So I think that's really important to remember when buying AAA games. Like the Skyrim experience, for instance, the story's pretty flat, but people love the gameplay. I'm not a personal fan, but the Elder Scrolls series has been around for a long time for a reason. And like Dragon Age is probably going to continue with that. Now, I would do what Amanda did and play Inquisition, and if you like it, go back and play the other ones, or play Origins if you're like me and like that more old school Baldur's Gate experience. And if you like it, then you should continue. But I will say RPGs are vast, and Dragon Age is one of them, and it's big and it's popular, so you're probably going to love it. But choose your battles wisely when it comes to RPGs. Coming from this guy, RPGs are hundreds of hours long sometimes, and so you want to play one you're really going to like. So with Dragon Age, just pick a game that seems appealing, play it, make your own opinion, make your own decision, and continue if you like it, because Dragon Age 4 is probably coming on the way, which we're going to talk about here in a second, and you'll be ready for it when it comes out. This way, you'll be caught up. You'll be like Mark and Amanda. You'll know all the shit.
You'll know everything.
Right.
It only takes...
You'll form your own alliances with people that you
Yeah.
love and people that you hate.
Yeah.
And then you'll be able to yell at other people on the internet about their
Exactly.
feelings.
And there's an episode
Don't make
coming
people
up
feel bad. It's
in the
mean.
coming weeks that I'm going to talk about the idea of video game reviews in general. And I'm going to say something right now that I think reviewers do not say a lot of times, and that is make your own decision. You've heard all of our opinions today, but please like do your own research and like forge your own opinion, and then comment on our podcast and tell us what you agree with, what you don't agree with, why Amanda's wrong about Anders, stuff like that.
Yeah, dude, no, it's totally fine. And I want to clarify that.
Yeah.
I don't hate people for loving Anders.
I do,
that's
though.
totally fine.
But you can hate me. Don't hate Amanda, though. She's nice.
If you don't like the fact that I like Cullen, like, that's cool too. Like,
Yeah,
again,
let's talk about
they're
it.
fictional
Like, tell me
characters.
why
Don't
you don't
scream
like
at each other
him.
on the internet. Just,
Yeah.
Talk like rational human beings.
And to wrap up my opinion, I will say, if anything, the boss battles against those fucking dragons are so cool. Like, they're
Yeah.
awesome.
Fighting
If you
the
play
dragons.
Inquisition, those boss battles
Well, even
against
in
that,
Origins, like when
Yeah.
you fight the.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, the boss battles in Origins, they're really cool. I will say, though, I did want to say this earlier, and I never did. The antagonist of Inquisition is really cool. What was his name again? Corypheus. He's really cool. But, like, for me, I felt like his finale boss battle was really bad. And I don't know if you audience members agree with me or not, but it was like he was so cool, and he was this omnipotent, like, bastard, and his character design is sweet. He's like a super dark spawn, essentially.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, wow, this was like a really scripted AAA boss battle.
Yeah, and I think if I could go on a limb here,
Yes.
I think one reason why, even like I've platinumed Inquisition. It's one of the few games I've platinumed, and I've done a nightmare mode with friendly fire on, and blah 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 nerd stats, whatever.
Oh man, did you get all those trophies, Mark?
All of that trophies. Anyway,
Alright, so-
but like, I feel like, again, as I was saying before, BioWare does learn their lesson, at least when it comes to Dragon Age, because you actually fight Corypheus in Dragon Age 2.
That's right, they do. Yeah.
He's the DLC
Which is another
boss,
reason that he's so cool,
Yeah.
like in Inquisition.
because you don't expect him.
Yeah.
Like, you beat him, and I have beaten him before, and my wife probably doesn't believe me because
I've watched him try to beat Corypheus like probably half 100 times
Yeah.
at this point.
And the final boss fight for Corypheus at the end of Dragon Age 2, the DLC, is absolutely ridiculous. He sits on a pedestal, he summons demons, he shoots fire in like a line
And like spins in a circle like
and
a
spins
fan.
in a circle. So you have to like, it's like
Like
playing
a Guardian from Zelda.
It's like playing an MMO where you have to like make sure the DPS is like over here in the
yeah.
corner by the fire, and make sure that like the healer tank is like up front and like taking all the damage.
Instead of running through the fire.
But you have but the AI for 2 is not good. So you have Varric who's like running behind you, and he's like, I'm gonna run to the left now, directly into the fire and die.
Yeah.
And there's no res mechanic. That was the biggest and best improvement they made in Inquisition,
I
is
agree.
being able
Yeah.
to go to a knocked out character and revive them. I don't care if they have shitty health when they're revived. In Dragon Age 2, if they die, that's it. You're soloing that.
Yeah.
And you can't solo
So
that
there's no
fight.
spells to resurrect
There's
them?
no revive spells
Nothing.
in 2. No, I'm sorry, there is, and it's
Oh yeah.
it's an ultimate move. So
Oh,
like,
okay.
you can use it like once, but then if that mage dies,
That's it.
that's it.
Yeah, game over.
And we're not playing a mage; we're playing a
rogue or
a
something.
rogue.
Warrior.
Yeah.
But if you
No, no,
switch
we're a
over to the
warrior.
mage to make sure they're alive, then your main character just runs into the fire.
Yeah. So he's really hard.
There's enemies on the
He's
other
very
side of the
hard.
fire.
Yeah. Damn.
So they were like, we don't want to do that to you again. So here he is.
I think they
in
just
position,
wanted
and he
people to
just-
defeat him and feel good about it.
Yeah.
Okay. I could see that because they knew that was really a little too hard.
It's very tough.
Yeah.
We are playing it on nightmare mode.
Though there
and-
is that one part in that fight where like he's standing up on a ledge and like he unless you like just switch to a mage or like Sarah or somebody and start shooting at him.
He's like 5 feet off the ground, and you're like, I can
And, like,
definitely
I-
still hit you with a sword.
I can't.
Yeah.
Like, all the
Can't.
melee characters are like, he's out of range. You're
Yeah.
like, he's really not.
Yeah, just poke him, get a lance or something. But yeah, so Corypheus, and you guys should play the game and tell me what you think. And even on harder difficulties, I just felt like it was a lackluster battle.
Yeah.
But I mean, I didn't know that about Dragon Age 2. That makes sense.
It's still a totally worthwhile ending, so don't let
The ending is good. It's just, Corypheus
fear
was
of
a little
not
bit of
being.
a low
Because
note.
let's be honest, this is the thing with games. A
Yeah.
lot of the time, Final Fantasy X, perfect example, killed Sin in like 2 hits.
Yeah.
But Seymour.
Yeah.
But Seymour
whoops
was
her
a
ass.
dick.
Yeah. Anyways, so Corypheus, I'm not saying like if he was like poorly written or like maybe written a little differently. When you whip him really easily, it would have been satisfying. But because he was so imposing, it was like...
I think I just wanted him to be thematic.
Yeah.
So
I feel that. He was very thematic. He was a
Yeah.
great character.
cool, like red lightning shit and
Right.
stuff like that. Dragon fight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
So
yeah, that dragon fight was cool.
for our end here, to wrap things up, I didn't know about this until right before we started recording, but apparently there's some news about Dragon Age 4, right? Let's hear it.
Just a little.
Yeah, just a little
Anything's
tidbit.
good, honestly.
Yeah.
Little taste.
You were the one who reminded me, so...
That Patrick Weeks has confirmed that he is working on a Dragon Age project, and we are just going to assume that it's probably Dragon Age 4 now that
Probably.
Andromeda
It
is
wouldn't
out.
make sense.
Could be a
He's
spin-off
the
game,
lead
though.
writer now.
Yeah. Dragon Age card game.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah. The mobile card game app, the pay to play, pay to win.
Now you say
coming
that-
to iPhone, iOS, iPad,
You say that, but The Witcher just has a
I
brand
know.
new card game, which is really good.
and they just announced a big Street Fighter V thing, which you listeners know I'm a big fan of. They added Street Fighter V characters to a popular Japanese app phone game that's all about card battling.
Oh my God.
And I was like
man.
real excited, and then I started crying in the shower.
But yeah, and like that's important because so David Geider, who was the lead writer for Origins, Awakening 2, and Inquisition, and the first 3 books, and also for the role playing game, he left BioWare,
Right.
and I don't know what he's gonna do, but
Dang.
probably some other great stuff.
Yeah.
And they appointed Jeffrey Weeks, who wrote the 4th book and edited the 5th novel. And he worked on Inquisition with David Geider. So he's
Well,
the
that's
new
gonna
lead
be
writer.
good. I mean, he has my first name, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Although he is Weeks.
He is Weeks, but he has. See, usually people who are Weaks have to prove that they're Strongs,
Right.
so he's gonna do a good job.
Then it'll be Jeffrey Strong.
He's an underdog.
But I think him coming out and saying that he's working on something, and he also mentions that he's working on something that takes the Dragon Age fandom to someplace it hasn't been before.
That's cool.
And at the end of Inquisition,
future.
Yeah, the future.
Yeah.
Back to the future. At the end of
Mass
Inquisition,
Effect 5 that they fused the series.
Oh
Mass
god.
Effect Inquisition.
Somebody made that
Yeah.
joke on Tumblr. They're like, "What if Mass Effect and Dragon Age are connected?" And I'm like, "Get your space out of my swords."
Yeah. But Mark, space swords.
I don't care. Like, like BioWare could come out and say that Dragon Age takes place on a planet that isn't as advanced, and Mass Effect people are just floating around in the stratosphere.
It hasn't been
watching
discovered yet or something.
Yeah,
maybe.
and I'm just like, I don't really care.
yeah, cool for them, but whatever.
Like,
Yeah.
go away.
Stay away. No
Um,
secret ending with the landing of a ship.
The only
please.
BioWare game that's allowed to cross pollinate with Dragon Age is Jade Empire.
Oh, yeah.
That would be like if they went to the other side of the planet and it was just Jade Empire.
There's just Jackie Chan's running around
Yes.
everywhere with their fucking
And
sweet
Shoguns and,
yeah,
like,
and like Bruce
Bruce
Lee.
Lee.
Hell yeah. Okay,
Um,
cool.
But anyway, I think they're gonna go to Tevinter.
Awesome.
Which is-
I would agree.
Tevinter, man.
That
And
makes
what is
sense.
Tevinter, Mark?
Tevinter is like mage tyranny city.
Okay.
It's a country that has like in the lore of the game is always instigating war and oppression.
Gotcha.
Because it's ruled by corrupt blood mages that want to rule everything.
Okay.
And Dorian, one
Sounds
of the main
metal.
characters from Inquisition, goes back to it at the end of the game to be like a voice of reason, and he becomes like a council member for the government, and he's trying to shift the government away from this like totalitarian aggressive expansion.
Cool.
So it would be really cool to play a game where maybe you're not a loud and proud character, because in all Dragon Age games you are the loudest
proud
and
guy,
proudest
yeah.
banner waver for your cause.
Hey guys, look at me.
It'd be
Yeah.
I think it'd be great if they like made a good thief.
It's like you're the kid at the party, at the pool party, who wants everybody to watch him like nail the sweet jackknife off the diving board.
But you don't notice that the real main character is actually unscrewing the diving board.
Motherfucker.
I would play a Dragon Age that was like that,
That'd be cool.
you know?
Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I liked all the things that we went over. That sounds good. And just to wrap things up here, guys, do you have any like closing notes or anything you'd like to say before we do our plugs and all that?
Green Ronin Games makes the Dragon Age RPG, and I would highly recommend it. It's a very easy to use system. If you've listened to our podcast, Choose My Adventure podcast, they also are a D6 only system.
Cool. I like those.
And they have a lot of weird skills that you can take, like smelling.
Cool.
You can take smelling as a skill, and you wouldn't think they'd be useful, but like I guess when your main enemy is decaying corpse people, you probably smell them from very far away.
That makes sense.
That's fair, yeah.
I like that. Cool. How about you, man? Anything you want to close out with?
My closing thoughts are going to be the same as Jerry Springer's on the end of every episode of The Springer Show. Until next time, be kind to yourselves and each other.
Aw, that was a good show.
He really said that at the end of
He
every...
really did. It's
Yeah.
fact. Yeah, no, I used to come home from school and watch the Jerry Springer Show.
Amazing.
Nobody listened to
Wonderful.
him.
Yeah. I know. That was the saddest part because like his show is all about like breeding animosity between people, right?
Yeah,
like,
it
that's,
was.
like, drama.
What a
We're gonna put these
hypocrite.
people on because we know they're gonna fight. But Jerry Springer at the end was always just like, be nice.
We're gonna have some Jerry Springer style episodes in the future. By the way, we're gonna have some heavy debate episodes. I'm gonna put
man.
two people have opposite opinions, and I'm gonna referee it.
And then you're gonna like have a surprise guest. This is Brandy. She was sleeping with Jim.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So, anyways, this has been EXPodcast. We've had a great time here talking about Dragon Age with Mark and Amanda
Thank
Osborne.
you so much for having
thanks,
us on.
Leon.
Absolutely. I want to remind all you listeners to check out our primary podcast, which is Choose My Own Adventure podcast. You can find it at thesametitle.com. We do updates on a role-playing podcast. You should definitely check it out. It's also the only place besides iTunes and everywhere else you can find podcasts to find my podcast directly, which is EXPodcast, and you'll find a tab on our website with my stupid face there that you can check us out. Also, I want to remind the listeners that our opening and closing music is done by my good friend Michael Fox. You can find him at Ambassador Fox at SoundCloud. He is a really talented composer and a great friend of mine, and we really appreciate him letting us use his music for our podcast and also potentially for Choose My Own Adventure in the future.
Yeah, I've taken a look at a lot of his stuff, and I mean, I think we have a lot of stuff coming up, especially with Tapor being this kind of like magical techno city.
Right.
That's party central.
Exactly. And like I said before, if you have any subjects you want me to talk about, please leave them in the comments when you review this podcast and Choose My Own Adventure on iTunes. And I'd also like to thank Grant, our sound guy. We couldn't do it without him. He's amazing.
Grant.
Yay, Grant!
Taking out more projects.
Yeah, absolutely. He's working real hard, and we really appreciate him. And look for new updates on EXP podcast here coming soon. We're gonna have a lot more episodes, hopefully weekly updates. Stay tuned, and thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Anders blows.
Yeah, go play Dragon Age. Maybe.
Dragon Age Crisis. Play Ghouls and Goblins.
Bagools.
The goblins?